Давай!
Hi, I'm Chris Wilson from Grinding Gear Games. Thanks for joining us today as we reveal Path of Exile's next expansion, Sentinel. We'll then cover what we're doing with magic and rare monster modifiers, various quality of life improvements, and the full release of controller support for PC players.
Хотя бы на базовом уровне.
Latest supporter packs, I'll head into a live Q&A with community streamer Ziggy D, where we'll answer your questions.
Давай!
In the wake of your power, something has arisen. Dark Sentinels, hungry for a share. But these cruel constructs can be harnessed. Take them, bind them to your will. Test and tinker, combine and reconfigure. And together, you will find your fortune. Some Sentinels are powerful. Others are dangerous. But in a world with shifting stars, monstrous new threats, and valuable treasures, you will need them. The Sentinels await your command.
Keystone и Атласа. Обалдеть. Убер-Сирус. Обалдеть.
Sentinels are ancient constructs that have been unearthed across Rayclast. In this league, you will collect these Sentinels and attempt to harness their great power. Once deployed, a Sentinel follows you, watching and waiting for you to enter combat. As you encounter enemies, the Sentinel will fire a beam that doesn't damage the enemy, but rather empowers them. This not only amplifies the difficulty of the foe, but also the rewards that it yields. There are 3 classes of Sentinels that you will find as you kill monsters in this league. Stalker Sentinels will follow you for around 30 seconds, empowering dozens of monsters before they dissipate. This is like a build your own breach or delirium effect. Pandemonium Sentinels are designed for mass area of effect, and typically only fire 1 shot. But this shot really counts, chaining between monsters to affect an entire screen full of foes at once. This class of Sentinel can be very dangerous because it empowers so many enemies at one time. The final class, Apex Sentinels, can only empower rare or unique enemies. They fire fewer shots but have a much larger impact on difficulty and reward. For example, saving your Pandemonium Sentinel for when you're surrounded by monsters. While the Sentinels you find generally get better and better as you play through the league, you can also upgrade the behavior and properties of Sentinels through your Sentinel Controller. The Sentinel Controller is like a runic circuit board. It's what powers your Sentinels and allows you to customize them. There are specific nodes for each of the 3 types of Sentinel, so you can customize the properties and behavior of all of them, or potentially focus on your favorite base types. You start with 4 units, which is enough to power your first Sentinel slot and your first runic node. By the end game, you are able to work up to 30 power units, which is enough for almost half of the controller to be powered at once. But they don't need to be thrown away when this occurs. You can find power cores that let you assemble a new Sentinel with a full charge. This process disassembles 2 existing Sentinels and creates a hybrid of the 2, with their properties combined together. Right-clicking a power core opens up an assembly screen. If you insert 2 Sentinels and click the Assemble button, a new, fully charged one will be created. This process is complex. This unique Sentinel, the hollow-eyed skull, is basically a headhunter in Sentinel form. There are also a set of unique Sentinels that are designed to empower specific named Atlas map bosses. If you activate one of these Sentinels while fighting that boss, it empowers the boss into an extremely dangerous version that is very, very rewarding if you can defeat it. On the other hand, its rewards are scaled by reward bonuses on that map, so if you're able to defeat one of these bosses in a juiced map, you will certainly be greatly rewarded.
Greatly rewarded Divine Orb.
Maybe getting a lucky exclusive mod spawn and end up with one of the best weapons, armor pieces, or jewelry in Path of Exile. Sentinels can be in addition to the Sentinel Challenge League, this expansion further improves on the new endgame introduced in Siege of the Atlas. The new endgame was designed to give you ultimate control over what kind of content you want to play. This expansion introduces 20 powerful Keystone passives to the Atlas tree. As you know from the regular passive skill tree, Keystone passives are usually dramatic and build-changing. The second big change is that we have introduced these clusters of passives that grant you even more control over what endgame content you encounter. As you know, you can encounter many different types of past League content randomly within maps. These new passives allow you to prevent content you don't enjoy from appearing randomly, while simultaneously causing other content to spawn at a higher rate. Aside from the obvious convenience of only encountering the past League mechanics that you choose,
Отменить один контент, чтобы было другой.
specific content that you have juiced on your Atlas tree. The singular focus keystone makes it significantly more likely that your favored maps will drop. If a map drops that is not one of your favored maps, it will be converted into a random currency item. This means that you'll exclusively see your favored maps, and outside of that, more currency. It means that when extra content is being rolled for your maps, each of the base chances is 50% higher. This is really useful for players who don't want to have to think about juicing their maps and would instead prefer to get a constant moderate bonus instead. The following two keystones are for very advanced players who have completed their Atlas trees and want to get a very specific outcome with all of their skill points. The Grand Design Keystone increases the monster pack size in each of your maps by an amount proportional to the number of notable passives you have allocated. However, the trade-off is that small passives have no effect. These two keystones are very good for specializing into maximizing pack size and quantity at the expense of specific League content, which is great for general Magic Find builds or Divination card farmers. The Twist of Fate keystone changes the behavior of corrupted rare maps in unpredictable ways. Upon entering a map, you may be sent to an alternative map of the same tier with randomized modifiers. This means that you can play all of the Scarabs, Master Missions, and maps that you enjoy, and any leftover ones can be randomized to new outcomes, which are guaranteed to not be the ones you started with. This may have some interesting economic consequences as well, with players feeding bad Scarabs or maps into the Twist of Fate lottery. The Wellspring of Creation and Dance of Destruction keystones change the ratios of monster life and damage in maps on the Atlas, so that they're more dangerous and less tanky, or vice versa. 6 new keystones create uber versions of Path of Exile's pinnacle boss fights. Binarius, Cyrus, the Maven, the Searing Exarch, the Eater of Worlds, and the Shaper and Uber Elder, who I guess is now called the Uber Elder. Allocating one of these keystones on your Elder the corresponding boss fights so that it is extremely difficult. Like, really hard. Harder than saying goodbye to Zana hard. Only allocate these keystones if your character is extremely powerful and you know you can handle the challenge. In general, the encounter's rules are modified to be far more punitive and difficult. In return, though, you can earn some very enticing rewards. Very rarely, though, you may be able to earn an awakened exceptional support gem as well, such as Empower, Enlighten, or Enhance.
Awakened, Enlighten. Так, блять, я не понял.
Most aspiring players who are deep in Path of Exile's endgame. They add a new level of difficulty for those who want to push their builds even farther than they ever have before. The keystones also let you identify a specific reward, type of content, or playstyle, and know exactly how you can get the most out of it.
Бля, ну вот это вообще красава, конечно.
There are a number, like the ones we have shown you today, these keystones require you to consider your endgame. We're very interested to see what strategies. We are removing Vinctar's Square and Doryani's Machinarium from the Atlas of Worlds because they are not natural map drops.
Ну и пошли они нахуй.
And Call of the Void is a new cold-themed ring that was designed by Lighty and will drop from the Uber Elder. Echoes of Creation is a new unique helmet, also designed by Lighty, which will drop from the Shaper. The third Lighty unique being introduced is the Burden of Truth, a unique belt which will drop from Cyrus. Overall, this belt is extremely powerful for characters who can build to have a decent energy shield pool while also using life flasks appropriately.
Ебать вилка.
The fourth new item that we're featuring today was created by Waggle. It's an amulet called the Eternal Struggle, which will drop from either the Infinite Hunger or the Black Star. The final unique we're showcasing today was designed by Steel Mage. It's a unique jewel that drops from the Maven. The jewel refers to a random keystone on your passive skill tree and enables you to be able to allocate passives within a radius around that keystone without them being connected to the rest of the tree. While the keystone itself cannot be allocated, this jewel allows you to jump across great distances on the passive tree in a very skillful way.
Вот это пок, блять.
In addition to these uniques that have come from the boss kill competition, we have added new unique items to the Uber Pinnacle boss fights that can be accessed through some of the new keystone passives. These include a different variation of Thread of Hope that can drop from Uber Cyrus, a new unique jewel which can drop from the Uber Shaper, and special Forbidden Flame and Forbidden Flesh jewels which can roll exclusive ascendancy notable passives that are not available anywhere else in the game. No other part of the Arch Nemesis League has been retained, so there's no more inventory or recipe management.
Теперь вампирик это обычный рарник. Удачи.
For example, if you encounter a monster with both Storm Strider and Ice Prison, the Ice Prison may block you off so that you are more likely to run into the lightning mirages from the Storm Strider mod.
Бля.
We've done a balance pass over the
Ладно.
Nemesis mods before.
Ну чё, будем равников
Path of Exile's
ебашить,
challenge
да?
system. We've been experimenting with support for game controllers on the PC version of Path of Exile. This also means that Path of Exile is now fully playable on the Steam Deck for those of you who are lucky enough to have one so far. The Cloak of Elements indicates the power of your fire, cold, and lightning resistances on your back. When a resistance is capped, the effect is extra strong. While wearing the Ring of the Black Star, your level up effect looks like this. In the
Обалдеть.
Timekeeper's hideout, you can use the Chronosphere to change the time of day from dawn to noon to dusk to night.
Обалдеть.
With Chevron's tome on your belt, identifying items will cause exploding books to appear nearby. The Mage Blue map device blossoms with greater intensity as you open higher tier maps. With the soul-stunning weapon effect attached to your weapon, any attacks that stun will cause your enemies to have an out-of-body experience. Drinking from the searing Quicksilver flask causes an explosion and sets your character on fire. They're available right now at pathofexile.com/purchase.
Плоти, давай, блядь! Плоти, сука!
Expansions like Sentinel. We greatly appreciate your support.
Чтобы было красиво, плоти. Чикс, ага, Дозор, Реклас, блядь. Ага, челобасы с тобой ходят. Ага. А что тут нельзя посмотреть? Штучки меняй, блядь. Штучки лутай, блядь. Рарки перекрафчивай, блядь. Вы получаете гениальность алхимика при использовании флакона. Гениальность алхимика. Гений, блядь, гений. Минус 10 нон-чен монокост. Power charge. Ага. Обалдеть. Чего, блядь? В смысле, это как? Ебать. Получается, можно будет залокать Global Defenses на Валрегале. Ну, если она, блядь, на плите есть. Погибель магов. Обалдеть. Ну, это Мэйджбейн. Уже можно было. Так можно было на только бричевских айтемах. Ты дурак, блядь. Здесь мод брич айтема, нахуй, на плите. Ты вообще... Ну, с первого взгляда, вот, Атлас выглядит неизменным, да, вот, разве что вот Кейстоны прихуячили, прикрутили, да, со всяких сторон. Ладно. Блять, чё, 2 мира, блядь, будет стоить, да? Обалдевание, блядь. Когда без карапта 4-й левел, а может за карапте будет 5-й левел. И там, скорее всего, множитель расходует ресурсов 84% будет. Или 86%, что-нибудь такое. Ну вот это жесткий, конечно, джевел добавили, блядь, жесткий. Обессмертите свое имя. Обалдевание. Наслаждайтесь балансом, как есть. Блядь, я уже чувствую, как я буду бить какую-нибудь, блядь, вампирик клетку полчаса, бля. Буду наслаждаться балансом, нахуй. Как, ну, как есть буду наслаждаться. Поэтому дополнительно собирать пробы кушанов, плане баланс персонажей, не носит никаких своего персонажа, ничего. Каждый день из этого билд, каждый руководство написано в насаду Атласа, будет работать точно так же в Дозоре. Обалдеть. Ультра страшные шушпины, блядь, арахнофобы покинули чат. Ну, ладно, чё. А чё, ультиматума не будет? Я еще думал, какие-нибудь, блядь, мапки там 20-го тира прихуярят. Не. Ну ладно. Зато теперь будут убер боссы, блядь. Обалдевание происходит прямо сейчас, ебать. На ваших мониторах. Просто пиздец. Все, оффы. Ну все тогда, давайте, чат. Счастья, здоровья. Ну, классненько, что классненько. В Атласе что добавили, почекаем, когда все выйдет. Там, покрутимся, помутимся, блядь. Нахуй круто, классно. Ребята решили не делать патч. И сказали такие, блядь, а давайте такой же баланс будет, как в прошлой лиге. Ну, давай, блядь. И все. Евгений, можно попросить совета? Слушаю тебя внимательно. Блять, я уже потерял тебя. Ладно, посмотрим, короче, что будет. В принципе, анонс, конечно, не такой хайповый, как Осада Атласа. Ну, это, ебать, и не экспеншн, правильно? Правильно. Все, чатик, давайте. Чё, какао?